However, it doesn't end there, and this leads me to my reason for writing to you. For some months now, I've had a growing feeling of unease, usually at night. We live in the country on the edge of a very ancient wood. This does not normally worry me, but lately I've heard an unusual noise, something like a low chuckle, coming from the line of trees outside the barn, and once or twice I've caught the flash of a pair of cold, insane eyes reflected in the moonlight, staring out at me from the shadows. More worryingly, recently I woke in the early hours with a distinct impression that someone had been stroking my hair as I slept. Then, about a week ago, I received a parcel postmarked from Newcastle. I immediately checked the sender's address and was surprised to see that it came from the same part of England as Mr. Arnold Fellez Palmer's letter all those years ago. The package contained 3 items, each carefully wrapped in cotton wool. Firstly, a small but surprisingly heavy sword, no more than 3 centimetres long, and beautifully made and very sharp. Secondly, a crystal phial containing a dark red liquid. And thirdly, a pair of dried wings, like that of a dragonfly, though longer, tapered, and beautifully iridescent. When I picked up the envelope, a note dropped out. Initially, all I saw was what looked like a reddish smudge on the yellowing paper, but, on instinct, I grabbed a magnifying glass and peered at the ink. Now the writing was clear, a beautiful but minute copperplate hand. I hope you enjoyed our histories, Mr. Bennett. I saw you once, and I believe you saw me too, many years ago when you came to the home belonging to the late Mr. Arnold Fellez Palmer, my last human friend. At that moment I formed the impression that you would be an excellent custodian of these precious volumes. However, there are those of your race and ours who would seek to destroy them and quite possibly harm you should you misuse their secrets. And so I bitterly regret the danger I have put you in. One day the contents of this package may be of great use to you. Humbly yours, Clan Carl Brashoff, Picus. My first reaction was to dismiss the letter writer as a lunatic, but then I remembered the strange things that had been happening, and then I got to thinking about the actual contents of the books and what it would mean were they actually true. So my next instinct was to light a fire in the garden and burn the books, and then go into hiding, preferably somewhere warm and really sunny. In fact, that was what I resolved to do until a couple of days ago, when I had a rare brainwave. I told my wife all about it. Instead of running up and down the stairs and screaming, as I suppose she might do, she just shrugged. I prompted, "You did hear what I said. Bad guys and possibly their friends with big teeth are out to get us, etc." She shrugged again. "Yes," she said, "for I'm not deaf. I was thinking of a solution, and now I have one. Voila." "Oh yeah, what's that?" I asked, a little cross, I have to admit, that she didn't seem to be taking all this very seriously. "C'est évident, simple, and I'm quite sure you would have thought of it too, my darling, sooner or later." She patted my arm at this point, which was also quite annoying. "In brief, I would make the contents public," she said, "as public as possible. In this way, the books we have will no longer hold their value, as nearly everyone will have a copy. What would be the point of destroying them, and, let's be honest here, the two of us, if thousands of copies were printed that people all over the world could read? No use shutting the stable door," she said, "when the cat has already jumped out of the bag." I thought about it. Surely, if these books were true, and we told the whole world about it, then it would make the bad guys even more angry. "Angry? Certainly," she replied. "But if these secretive and extremely powerful and possibly dangerous vampires or people know we have the books, then it's much likely that sooner or later they're going to come round to the idea that they better get rid of us before we do anything, just in case. If everyone knows about the Hidden Kingdom, then what would be the point of attacking just us?" I didn't reply right away. Instead, I went over to the window and looked out at the wood that borders the house. A spray of poppies I'd never seen before caught my eye, scarlet, nodding in the breeze, and out of season. I peered into the shadows and the hollows and thought about just what else lay hidden there, beyond our gaze. The books I translated told of secretive creatures, some just as magical and some even more dangerous than vampires. Fays, with their leaf castles that lay all over Britain, where, as whites, we had proof as it existed, written in her uncle's books. At that moment I had to admit, despite all the danger, it was exciting. Publishing the books would change everything, and not just for us. Finally, I came to the conclusion that, as usual, my wife was right. Making the entire contents of the book wasn't the perfect solution, but it was better than sitting around doing nothing, hoping that they, whoever they were, would be nice enough to leave us alone. So here it is then, The Secret of Small Vampires. It is the story that started when the Empire of Man was still new, and vampires, the most powerful but also the best of all creatures, ruled with fairness, grace, and good humour. Yours faithfully, Robin Bennett.